Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back to the F.O.B. Dr. Yash here. Well, I'm back here on the other side of the camera, but you can see that's the F.O.B. for sure. So, I just wanted to pop this. You can hear this thing running in the back. Just wanted to do a review. I got my can sitting in here. Move that to show you what I got. So I got a diesel heater. One of these diesel parking heaters, they call them. Mounted on a bracket here. It used to be one of these all-in-one units. Actually, it was mounted inside here. I'm just using that as a tank, but it's mounted up here now on some of the angle brackets you can get at your local hardware store really cheap. And it's bolted to the firewall into the corner here, just kind of catty-cornered. Got that running down to where the heater hoses used to run through the firewall. Just got some temporary runs for the intake and exhaust for combustion, but the heat exchanger itself is plumbed using regular 3-inch HVAC plumbing. So, of course, it's the fuel pump's mounted to the bracket here. It's running from the fuel tank here. I'm going to take you back inside and show you how I've got it set up inside. Alright, so we're back inside. I can tell you I've only had it running for just a few minutes and we're already, the unit's fully up to temperature. These things they're really cheap. I think I paid $103 for this thing. The whole unit, it was an all-in-one deal. I think I paid $103 shipped to the door. Of course, shipping's free because that's the game that eBay plays now. It's the game that the sellers play. And eBay has rules where if the shipping is free, you can't review the shipping. It doesn't matter if it took a month, which mine actually did take like a little between 3 and 4 weeks to get here. So that's the only complaint I have. But that's just due to whatever. If they had it out of the country for the warehousing. The only negative thing I have to say about these is they're all the same. They're really all the same. So don't worry about if you get one that's a Vever or you get one that's a, Wing Wong or a Ching Chang or a Ding Dong. It's all the same thing. I think the one I got was a Vever. So, but again, it doesn't matter. They're all coming from China. They're all a clone of the, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, but the Eberspacher or S-Bar. They're not a Webasto. They're very similar to the Webasto because those designs are not very different from each other, but they are. Originally, I thought it was a Webasto Airtop, but it's not. It's a, I'll just say S-Bar. But the other one's Eberspacher. I can spell it for you, but I can't say it. Eberspacher. I don't know. Wiener Schleiden. Something. Wiener Schnitzel. Something like that. I don't speak German, so I don't know how to pronounce it. All three of those are German names and German words. Webasto, which is probably still pronounced wrong, is probably the easiest one to halfway pronounce. But yeah, it's the S-Bar style that they've copied. It says an 8K, it's probably a 5K. So in that sense, it probably puts out 5 kilowatts to BTUs. We'll look that up really quick. But, it puts out whatever 5K is, 5 kilowatts. I didn't realize they rated these things in kilowatts until, it's like 17,000 BTUs per hour. So, I really like the thing. It's got about a 1.1 gallon tank. I think it was 1.1. I took it to the gas station and filled it up at the pump. And I think to the rim, it's like 1.1. So it's basically a 1 gallon tank. And I've not had any problems with it. I've had it installed in here for a few months. And this isn't, they're not a sponsor. I'm not a shill. I'm not paid to do this. I'm just telling you these things are pretty neat. Someone else told me about these. And I had never heard of it before. So I checked it out. And I'm like, I'm digging it. So for $100, you can really get a pretty decent piece of equipment. I'm surprised at how well it's put together and how well it's been working without giving me any issues for $100. For, it's been a couple months it's been installed now. And it has zero issues with anything between 32 and on up. Anything above freezing, the thing just blows right through it, just no problem. It starts to, you can tell it's starting to labor a little bit, running full blast and just barely keeping up. When you start getting to that freezing threshold, you start getting below freezing, it's like, it's still doing it, but it's running full blast all night. Runs about a gallon of fuel out in that night. So, just to give you an idea, on a slightly warmer night, like say if it's in the 40s, you might do half a gallon of fuel or something, especially if it's not windy. You know, if it's like 50 something degrees and you just want to knock the chill off and have it nice and warm in your space over here, you know, you could knock the chill off really quick and you probably end up having to turn it off. I usually put mine in high altitude mode to drop the fueling back. I don't have one of the fully programmable controllers. I'm going to show you that really quick. Let me flip this camera. I'll show you the controller it came with. Alright, so here's a view of the controller just sitting on the desk. The temperature sensor that tells you your ambient temperature right here is actually inside this unit. So you need to put it pretty centrally. You know, it's on top of the desk. So that's about, I wouldn't say mid-height. It's actually a little bit lower, but it's above the bed. So this gives a good idea. So you see we're at 9 or 10 Celsius. I actually have another refrigerator thermometer sitting here to tell me that that's about 50. So yeah, we're coming up. I mean, it's been a cold day here, so it's been in the 30s all day with some wind and rain and stuff like that. So it, you know, it cools this space pretty quickly. But just to give you an idea, it doesn't take very long to go from, I think I started at like 6 degrees and now we're basically teetering on 10, 206 Celsius. This is my combustion chamber temperature. I've never seen this thing go above 212. So, you know, we're burning really efficiently. So, and it's got little indicators to tell you that it, I think this might just be like a dummy light. It does have a remote you can turn it on and off with, which is sort of neat. I usually don't use it, but I've extended the wires out so it can sit on the desk. It used to be mounted to the front of that red box you see in the engine compartment, but that tells you your power level. So we're at 12 something. We're probably like 12.6 or 12.7 on the batteries because there's a charger hooked to them. That's basically how long it's been running. How long it's had power to it. That's the thermostat. I can actually set it, you know, I've got it set to 18 degrees, which is like 65-ish. 64, 65. Which, mind you, down here at 64, 65, you get up about like right here, it gets warmer really quick. Like if I hold my hand up, the heat definitely rises in here. So it's, you know, 18 degrees down here at the desk is a fairly warm room in here. So, yeah, so we cycled back around. So when I said I set it to high altitude mode, I just push these two, push the up and down buttons. You got your on off button and you got your up and down button. So you hold those, a little picture of a mountain pops up over here on the left, and what that does is it dials back the fuel to get a leaner air-fuel ratio for times where the oxygen is less dense. Well, it also helps because you can dial back this combustion chamber temperature on nights that are warmer, so you use less fuel. And this thing will drop down to a minimum value, and if it's not low enough on the regular mode, it'll just keep climbing. It'll get 22, 23, 24 degrees in here, which is, you know, you're getting, this desk surface is in the 70s, which means it's, you know, up by the roof, it's like 80s and 90s. It gets pretty hot in here. The thing does do a good job, and it burns clean, so. As far as efficiency goes, I don't have anything negative to say about it. The only thing I can say about it that might be a negative is that it is rather picky with alternative fuels. I've played around with it a little bit. It's, without any modifications or without running a dual tank setup, it's kind of grumpy when you start playing with alternative fuels. So that kind of sucks. But and also that controller that I just showed you is not one, even though it looks like one that you can go into the secret menu and do some tuning and play around with pump volume and air volume, you know, fan RPM versus pump frequency. You can't do that on this one. It's locked out. Some of them, the menu is not there. So that may have an effect on the alternative fuel situation. But out of the box, the best thing to do is really just run straight diesel in it, unfortunately. But I say unfortunately because it does very good. It does very well on D2 diesel. I have not had any problems with it. It's very clean. I mean, seriously, if you go out to the exhaust pipe on that thing right now with it running at 210, it smells like a butane lighter. That's the kind of fumes it puts off. It doesn't smell like anything burning diesel. It's very clean. And I've noticed that even after experimentation, once I've flushed all the old stuff out, it's back to burning clean again once it's straight D2 again. So, startup, I've had a couple smoky startups after running it dry and over priming it, so it's, you know, it's got a lot of raw fuel in the chamber. I've had that happen, but it's not really the fault of the machine. If I didn't run it dry, it wouldn't have done that. Usually I get good clean startups with no fumes. You know, the worst it smells like is maybe like an oil lamp, which is fairly mild if you don't know. But you do get a little bit of that heavy petroleum smell, but it's a mild scent, and it's outside, so you just very briefly get that until it comes up to temperature, and then like I said, after that it's clean. I think others have tested it with carbon monoxide meters, and they're getting like 0 readings on the exhaust on these. So they're pretty well designed, you know. They're copying the German design, being Chinese. It's just Chinese manufacturer of a German design. So when you go to get parts, as long as you know where to get them and what size everything is, you're good to go. That's the thing with something like this. Like I said, for $100, I'm just thrilled with the performance of it. I'm blown away that you can get something that operates on so little fuel. I mean, I'm just used to torpedo heaters that burn through 1/3 of a gallon per hour, and this thing uses a gallon a night on a really, what I would consider for this unit, a really cold night. So if it's down to like 32, if it's not cold enough to really break out the wood or the coal, you want to get something to just knock the chill off, and this thing does a really good job at it. So, and it's simple. I just turn it on. It comes up to temperature. I set the thermostat, make sure everything. I just check my numbers, and once everything's good, I just walk away from it. I don't have any concerns. It just does what it's supposed to do every time. So, I've been using it for a few months now, and I've not had any issues. So, like I said, I figured I'd give a little review. Because I actually do have another heat source to show y'all. It's not going to be my only heat source. Like I said, that's good for above freezing for warmer winter nights. But I got something else to show y'all coming up next. So, well, maybe not next, but it's coming up soon. I'll probably show you something else first. We'll see. But, anyways, just figured I'd give a little review of these diesel heaters. These people call them Chinese diesel heaters. They call them diesel heaters. Just go on eBay and look up a diesel heater. They're all over the place. They come in kit form. They come as all-in-one units. They come all sorts of different ways. So take your pick and order the cheapest one. Order the cheapest one that says 5K on it. There's a difference between the 2s and the 5s. 8, that really doesn't exist. I think maybe they're overdriving the burner. I haven't figured out how they come up with the 8K, which is a 27,000 BTU burner. They're actually physically the same as a 5. So I haven't figured out where they're cheating or if they're even cheating at all, and it's just a 5. So, but get a 5, not a 2. A 2 is a lot smaller. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm really impressed with this little thing. It's done really well, and it is 3-inch HVAC plumbing, in case you want to run some kind of remote mounted setup and you want to plumb it through their firewall and all that stuff and have it all outside, which is how I've got it. The only thing inside here is that controller, the air going into it and the air coming out of it. Everything else is in the engine compartment, where fuel-related objects should be. So, I'm having a good time with it. So, hope this video was informative to you, educational, entertaining, something. Anyway, you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time.